Welcome to English Language Academy, the secret town where no one ages. I went to investigate. Chapter 1. The room I first heard about it in a late-night chat with a friend. She leaned in close, her voice barely a whisper. Have you ever heard of Halcyon? It's a town where no one gets old. At first I laughed. It sounded like one of those urban legends people share to entertain themselves. But as she spoke, her expression didn't change. She was serious. They say once you enter Halcyon, time stops. No one grows old, and no one gets sick. How do you know about it? I asked, skeptical. My cousin claimed she went there. She didn't stay long, but when she came back, she looked different, like she hadn't aged a day. Her story intrigued me. I couldn't shake the idea of a town like that. Was it real? And if it was, why hadn't the world heard about it? Chapter 2, The Journey. I decided to find out for myself. My friend gave me vague directions. Head east, past the mountains. The town is hidden in the valley, but it's not on any map. I packed a small bag, took my car, and started driving. The journey was long, and the roads became narrower the farther I went. After a day and a half, I reached a forested area. The GPS on my phone stopped working, and I was left with only my instincts and the scraps of information my friend had shared. The forest was dense, and the path was overgrown. I parked my car at the edge and continued on foot. Hours later, I saw it. The town of Halcyon. Chapter 3. The town that time forgot. Halcyon was like stepping into a painting. The streets were clean, lined with quaint houses that looked as if they were from the 1800s. Flowers bloomed in every color imaginable, and the air smelled sweet. Children played in the streets, their laughter ringing out like music. But what struck me most were the people. They all looked perfect, not a wrinkle or gray hair in sight. Everyone appeared to be in their prime, neither too young nor too old. As I walked into the town square, I felt eyes on me. A man approached, his smile warm but cautious. "Welcome, traveler," he said. "We don't often get visitors." "I heard rumors about this place," I replied. "Is it true?" "Does no one age here?" He paused, then nodded. "It's true. Halcyon is special, but staying here comes with a price." Chapter 4. The Truth Unveiled. The man introduced himself as Elias and offered to show me around. The town had everything: shops, a school, a library. Yet there were no cars, no phones, and no sign of the modern world. It was as if the town was frozen in time. As the day turned to evening, Elias invited me to dinner with his family. His wife, Lila, and their daughter, Clara, welcomed me warmly. Over the meal, I asked more questions. How does it work? Why don't people age here? Lila glanced at Elias and he nodded. The town is protected by an ancient force, she explained. It keeps us young and healthy, but it's not just about the force. We have rules. Once someone enters Halcyon and chooses to stay, they can never leave. Her words sent a chill down my spine. Never leave? Why? Elias sighed. Because leaving breaks the bond. If you leave, all the years you didn't age catch up to you at once. Chapter 5. The stranger. That night, I stayed at an inn. I couldn't sleep, my mind racing with questions. Why did this town exist? Who or what was behind its power? Around midnight, I heard a knock on my door. I opened it to find a young woman, her eyes wide with urgency. "Meet me outside," she whispered, "by the old well." Curiosity got the better of me. I followed her to the well at the edge of town. She introduced herself as Mira. "You don't belong here," she said. "I saw it in your eyes earlier. You're not ready to give up the world outside." "I just want to know the truth," I replied. Mira hesitated before speaking. "The force that keeps us young, it's not natural. It's tied to the land, and it demands something in return." "What does it demand?" I asked, my heart pounding. She looked away. "Our memories. The longer you stay, the more you forget about the life you had before." Chapter 6. The Decision. Mira's words haunted me. I spent the next day wandering the town, observing the people. Everyone seemed happy, but there was something unsettling about their smiles, like they were hiding something. I found Elias and confronted him. "Why didn't you tell me about the memories?" He looked surprised. "Who told you?" "Mira." Elias sighed heavily. "It's true, the Force takes your memories. It's the price we pay for eternal youth. But isn't it worth it? To live without pain, without age?" I didn't know what to say. On the surface, Halcyon was perfect. But at what cost? Could I give up my memories, my identity, for a life here? Chapter 7. The Escape. That night, I made my decision. I couldn't stay. I packed my things and headed for the forest. As I reached the edge of town, I heard footsteps behind me. It was Mira. "You're leaving," she said. It wasn't a question. I nodded. "I can't stay. This isn't the life I want." She smiled faintly. "Good. You still have your memories. Hold on to them." I turned to leave, but she grabbed my arm. "Be careful. The forest, it doesn't like when people try to leave." I didn't understand her warning until I was deep in the woods. The path seemed to twist and change, leading me in circles. The air grew colder and whispers surrounded me, though I saw no one. Chapter 8. The Price of Freedom. It took hours, but I finally made it out of the forest. When I emerged, the world seemed brighter, sharper, real. I checked my reflection in a small stream. I looked the same, but I felt different, as if a weight had been lifted. I made it back to my car and drove away without looking back. But as I reached the highway, I noticed something strange. I couldn't remember the exact faces of the people I had met in Halcyon. Their names were fading, too. The town hadn't taken all my memories, but it had taken enough to remind me of the cost. Epilogue. I returned home, grateful for the life I had. Halcyon was real, I knew that much. But it wasn't a paradise, it was a trap. Sometimes late at night I think about the people who stayed. Were they truly happy? Or were they just shadows of who they once were? I'll never know. And maybe that's for the best. The end. Thanks for watching English Language Academy. Subscribe now.